Hi everyone, welcome to class. Today we're going to be going over the reproductive system. The reproductive system includes the internal and external organs involved in sex, menstruation, and reproduction. It also produces hormones that help regulate the functioning of the reproductive system and the development of sexual organs. So first we're going to talk about the female reproductive system, and then if we have time we'll get into the male reproductive system. For external organs, there's the vulva. This is a term for the external structures in the female reproductive system. And you have the labia minora. Those are the folds of skin within the labia majora surrounding the vaginal opening. You also have the clitoris. It's a sex organ consisting of erectile tissue that is sensitive to arousal and stimulation. You have the urethra opening. It's a tube connecting the bladder to the outer body that allows urine to leave the body. That's where you pee. I already kind of talked about the labia majora while talking about the labia minora. Internal organs, there's the vagina, which is a flexible muscular tube that connects to the cervix and expands during arousal. There's the cervix. It sits between the vagina and uterus. It allows menstrual blood to pass out and semen to enter. And the cervix expands during childbirth. And I used to have a little chart that shows like how big it'll expand during childbirth. So like where you would start for dilation and then where you would end. And it would be like massive, ridiculous. Then you have the uterus. It's a hollow muscular organ. During pregnancy, a fetus develops in the uterus. You have ovaries, and the ovaries hold eggs and produce the female reproductive hormones, estrogen and progesterone. These hormones support the sexual development of the body and prepare the uterus for pregnancy. And then lastly, there's the fallopian tubes. Those transport eggs from the ovaries to the uterus, and then the sperm travels through the fallopian tubes in order to fertilize an egg, which is how you get a baby. Then we're going to talk about the menstrual cycle. It's a monthly cycle of the female reproductive system to prepare for pregnancy. Throughout the cycle, hormones, estrogen and progesterone fluctuate, which can cause a range of symptoms, which is typically going to be, the bleeding, the headaches, bloating, body aches, anything you could think of from a period. Now, let's talk about the egg. This is something I've always found interesting, and I mostly looked into it because you can donate your eggs. And I used to think like you only have like 2 to 5 eggs, and I was incredibly wrong. The ovaries contain immature eggs, of which a few mature each month during ovulation. A mature egg travels toward the uterus through the fallopian tubes. And during reproduction, fertilization occurs when a sperm cell joins with that egg. As females age, the number of eggs reduces. So at birth, you have around 2 million eggs. And then in adolescence, which is about, anywhere from when puberty starts to about like mid-20s, you have around 400,000. And then around of the age 37 to 40, you only have 25,000 eggs. And then at age 51, you have around 1,000 eggs, but they are most likely no longer fertile because you probably hit menopause by then. And menopause ranges when it comes to age. Some people get it in their 50s. Some people even get them in their 40s, and then others may not get it till they're in their 70s. It just depends. Everyone's body is different. For the female reproductive hormones, I already talked about estrogen and progesterone. And there's the follicle-stimulating hormone as well as the luteinizing hormone. All of those hormones form part of the monthly reproductive cycle, which begins with first menstruation and ends at menopause. Now let's get into the male reproductive system. Let's talk about the organs. First, there's the penis. The penis contains the urethra, a tube which carries urine and semen out of the body. The penis contains erectile tissue and fills with blood to become erect during arousal. Next is going to be the testicles. The testicles are the male sex organs that produce sperm. The scrotum is the sac that contains the testicles. Then you'll have prostate. Prostate is a gland that produces fluid that makes up part of semen. Then you have I'm terrible at pronouncing this one, epididymis. It's a coiled tube that attaches to the testicles. Sperm cells from the testicles move to the epididymis to mature. And then you have the seminal vesicles. Those are 2 glands that release a fluid that provides sperm cells with energy to move. And now we're going to talk about sperm. The testicles produce sperm, which then travels to the epididymis. Sperm takes around 12 days to mature. Let's see. To reproduce, semen enters the vagina in order for sperm to join with and fertilize an egg. For the male reproductive hormones, there's the follicle-stimulating hormone FSH, which is for the development of sperm cells. And then you have the luteinizing hormone, LH, which is for testosterone production. And then you have testosterone, which is for sperm cell and sexual development. Testosterone is the main male sex hormone. It's responsible for sexual development and function. And then FSH and LH are also important hormones for the development of sperm and testosterone production. Intersex, I am not sure if we've covered this yet, but I found it really interesting while I was doing some other research. Intersex people have reproductive anatomy that does not fit neatly into the binary idea of male or female. There are at least 40 different intersex variations. For example, a person may have outwardly male or female genitalia but have the internal anatomy of another sex. For that, I've seen on this doctor show, I don't know if it's necessarily true, but there was a person who was a girl, she's a girl, but she had more testosterone than she was supposed to. So on her inside, she was a male and she became a woman while she was born. It was crazy. I don't know if that's necessarily true, if that's ever been a thing, but I found that really interesting. Next, we'll talk about some of the medical conditions affecting the reproductive system. For females, here are some potential medical conditions that can affect females. Endometriosis is tissue similar to the lining of the uterus grows outside of the uterus. I personally have never experienced it, but I've heard it's pretty painful. Uterine fibroids, it's a benign tumor growing in or around the uterus wall. Interstitial cystitis, a chronic condition affecting the bladder. And there's also gynecologic cancer, which is cancer affecting the reproductive organs. And then sexually transmitted infections that spread through sexual contact. For males, there's erectile dysfunction, which is a recurrent inability to get or maintain an erection. Infertility, which may occur due to problems with sperm or ejaculation. Penile disorders, STIs. Testicular torsion, which is a twisting of the testicle that can cut off the blood supply, which we looked at in the cats. And then problems affecting the foreskin, such as phimosis. And then cancer, which may include testicular, penile, or prostate cancer. Overall, the reproductive system is responsible for regulating hormones, sexual function, and reproduction. If you have any concerns about the reproductive system, you can speak with a gynecologist or a urologist as well. And one thing that I found really interesting was that many factors can affect sperm health, such as diet and exercise. People who try for a baby may need to make lifestyle changes to improve the male factor of reproduction to help increase the chances of pregnancy. Sperm are male reproductive cells present in the ejaculate. As sperm is needed together with an egg for successful reproduction, they are essential for fertility. There are different ways to measure sperm health. For example, tests can determine the number of sperm cells in ejaculate and how mobile they are. Both of those factors can affect fertility. For the definition of healthy sperm generally refers to its capacity to fertilize with a female egg. Sperm is a male reproductive cell, which the testicles produce in the body. And a doctor may use semen analysis to determine an underlying issue if someone is struggling to conceive. But overall, there's so many factors that can affect not only males but females as well when it comes to reproductive, anything with reproductive. But I think that this was one of the most interesting topics, and I wish I had models, but I don't have any models that are going to be helpful for this. I only have like a brain. You can see my little skeleton. But overall, I don't really have any models that would be helpful. But hopefully I will get some that will make it easier to understand. Have a good one.